Here.
Dennis Miller.
Here.
Angela Woodward.
Here.
Dan Lawson.
Here.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening and welcome, everyone. To those of you at home watching, thank you for joining us. To our audience, members of council, Mayor Miller, Attorney Bush, Director Paxton, welcome, everyone. We have a short agenda this evening. First item of business will be the approval of the minutes from the regular session Tuesday, March 18th. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections to those minutes, I'll ask for a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved. Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Minutes will stand approved. First ordinance this evening will be an ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Finance to make the following transfers within the 2025 appropriations and declaring an emergency.
Move for non-reading in full. Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Good evening.
Evening, Mayor.
The ordinance you have before you this evening is transferring funds from within a division or department. It is money that you have already appropriated within the 2025 appropriations. It's just realigning it a little bit. There's some shortages or anticipated shortages that we are starting to see that need to be adjusted just slightly. So at this point, that's kind of where we're at. There is some repairs that have to be done to one of the pieces of fire equipment, and that is the very first item you have at the top of the list, and then some insurance and benefits and things that also need to be addressed.
60,000 training.
The recruits, police recruits, we have to pay for their training or their education going forward and in order for them to become full-time police officers. So we're kind of working through that.
Okay.
I may have gotten a little aggressive on that, but it's currently about $24,000 in needs right now. So that will help them carry through the rest of the year, I hope.
Okay.
Rainwater reduction.
That is a storm or a sewer line. The part of our reduction or our reduction in stormwater getting into our sanitary lines.
Rainwater intrusion
Yeah.
in our.
So
Or-
doing that, that was a line that was put in this year in an effort to try to address some of that. Unfortunately, why their training program needed a little boost in order to complete the year. There's still about a about $95,000 in that line.
Okay.
How many officers do you expect will be trained with that amount of money?
I believe maybe Officer Klein might be able to better answer that than I.
I think we have two that are currently in the academy.
Okay,
I believe that's what probably that's referring to.
all right, thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay. Did you have anything to add, Larry?
No, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, well, if there's no further discussion, is there a motion to approve on the first reading?
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
I'll move to suspend the rules for 3 separate readings, 3 separate days.
Second.
Thank you.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye. Motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Ordinance 30-25.
Next ordinance will be read in its entirety due to the late arrival to not have to read it in full. So with that, I'll begin. This will be an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor, director of public service, to enter into a contract with Simonson Construction Services, Inc. for the Wells Road partial reconstruction project in the city of Ashland, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Whereas due to extensive recent asphalt pavement failures along a portion of Wells Road, west of Rock Road, it is immediately necessary that the partial Wells Road reconstruction project be implemented by the city of Ashland, Ohio, in order to efficiently and effectively maintain its transportation infrastructure. And whereas for the above reason, excuse me, this ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, property, health, safety, and welfare of said city of Ashland, Ohio. Now therefore, be it ordained by the council of the city of Ashland, Ohio, its members thereto concurring, Section 1, that the mayor, director of public service be and hereby is authorized and directed to enter into a contract for the Wells Road partial reconstruction project in accordance with the plans and specifications on file in the Office of the Engineering Division, and obviating formal bidding due to an emergency condition in accordance with Ohio Revised Code Section 735.051. Section 2, that the mayor is hereby authorized to eliminate any and all of the above improvements to the above project if he shall determine the same shall be in the best interests of the city of Ashland. Section 3, that the money for said project has been appropriated to be paid from account number 472-5601-56019 with a contract cost of $119,030, and the concrete will be purchased directly by the city per material bid pricing with an estimated cost of $45,000. And the total would be the two added together. In Section 4, that for the reason that said project herein specified is needed in order for the continued efficient and effective operation of the city of Ashland, Ohio's transportation infrastructure, this ordinance is declared to be an emergency measure immediately necessary for the preservation of the public peace, property, health, safety, and welfare of the city of Ashland. In Section 5, that this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage by council and approval pursuant to Section 12 of the Charter of the City of Ashland, Ohio. So ends the reading. With that, Mayor, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, this particular project involves Wells Road in the industrial park. And I think you're aware of the fact that when you travel west on Wells Road, you eventually get out into Mount Milton Township, right there by a Lee construction site, and so on. Well, as you can note in this ordinance, well, actually, no, it's not in this ordinance, but I will tell you, we had a purchase order for approximately $34,000 to do an emergency repair there where the road is giving out. Now, it's giving out for a number of reasons, not the least of which would be some drainage issues and some soft soil base that's under the pavement, but it's also getting a lot of use from heavy truck traffic. And quite honestly, we're trying to curb that because we do not think that the semi-tractor trailers should be using Wells Road to get into, quite honestly, I think often they take it from Wells Road to Bainey Road out to 42. And those roads, of course, were not constructed in the first place for that type of truck traffic. So with the help of our local police department, sometimes, actually it's the sheriff's department in this case, and the township, we're trying to prevent that from happening. But there are some legitimate reasons for heavy trucks to use that at particular times. But with all that being said, the road is failing. And Jason and I went out and took some pictures. So why don't we show you? The first portion of the project was already underway. And you can see right now where I'm sitting is at the intersection of Rock Road and Wells Road. So can you picture that? So if I were to turn right and not go forward, as it says the road is closed, I'd be heading out to where Ohio Electric was and our local landscape firm, Johnson, J&H. So this is repair that has begun. And you can see it's kind of low-lying in that area. And actually, when we were out there, the folks on site were telling us, boy, they've really gotten to some soft soil. So it explains why it was unable to handle the heavy truck traffic. So this is one photo. You can see the project was underway, but then I took this because what they're finding is that it's much larger or much more extensive than what was originally thought. So at this point, we think we need to repair about 400 feet of road. And if you're out there, you can't see it by my photos. Do you have another photo of that? That's okay if you don't. But the pavement is actually just rolling because the trucks are digging
ground's
such big
pumping.
ruts in it and so on. And there's one place that we didn't get a good picture of, but the ditch water had eroded, and so there's about a basketball size of pavement that's just fallen off the edge of the road. So with all that being said, this is a vital road out in the industrial park, one way or the other. And what we are asking you to do is to approve this emergency repair that is more extensive than we originally thought. And this will involve both lanes of Wells Road. And what's interesting about this is, on the north side of Wells Road, can you go back to the first picture? On the north side, where the equipment is parked, on that side, that is the city limits. On the south side, down there by the equipment, across the street, that is township. And so technically, we share ownership of that road. One lane would be theirs and one lane would be ours. But traditionally, we have maintained it because it's predominantly our traffic that uses that road. And also, when you're resurfacing a road, usually you wouldn't just do a half of it and leave the other half not repaired. So that's what we would be doing again, and I did reach out to the township, and they are willing might be the wrong way to put it. They are very pleased that we are willing to make the repair. So Larry Paxton and Reed did some research and found that it was best if we have a agreement in writing saying that we can do so. And while we don't have that, because we just reached out to him this afternoon, he said they have no problem signing that if we want to put together a letter.
Is that Milton?
Yes, it is, yes. So it's 400 feet of road. It will be concrete instead of asphalt through this section. It will involve the concrete on both sides, both the eastbound and westbound lane. And this concrete, for those that are interested in concrete, will also be 10 inches thick and include polymer fibers that will help hopefully give it even more durability. So as the sites continue to develop out in the industrial park, chances are there'll be a few more trucks over it, so.
Plus, you could see in the pictures the epoxy coated rebar that's there, that's obviously gonna go in as well.
Yes,
So-
yes. So,
Will this
appreciate your
repair,
consideration.
will this repair include any drainage of the?
Yes, we've dug out already the ditches and made them bigger, but yes, it will. So I didn't get real good pictures of that, but a lot of that has been done if you drive out there right now. So,
So how are you stopping the semis from, the ones that aren't supposed to be? Is there signs posted?
signage and law enforcement assistance,
Okay.
yes.
So which trucks are, what are some reasons trucks do go on that road? I mean,
Well, usually it's positive reasons?
yes, yes.
Well, maybe
Milk
they haven't.
trucks. I'm sure there's milk trucks in that
Yes,
area.
yes, yes. So it
Which
could be a
they're really
variety of
heavy.
reasons.
Okay,
And I
sure.
mean, we don't know where every truck is heading, but what we don't want people to do is use it as a shortcut to get to US
Could cut
42.
through. Yeah.
When that was the purpose of the bypass and so on. And of course, we know that Bainey Road is very narrow, and people tend to travel at higher speeds than they should on that road already, and we don't need the extra
Traffic.
safety concerns on that road.
What's the new estimate of completion?
I don't have the final estimate, but I will tell you, they're gonna continue right on, so they're moving quickly.
It's at April 11th, so
Yes,
I don't know.
yes.
Well, as a wise individual told me before this meeting, when you have a thriving industrial park, you're going to have more traffic.
Absolutely, in every direction.
Yes, and we have a thriving downtown, we have more
Yes,
traffic.
yes.
So it's a good problem.
I think so.
Very good. Did you have anything to add, Mayor?
No, no, pretty
Counsel?
basic.
Hearing no further discussion, is there a motion to approve on the first reading?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
Thank you.
Kyle,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
I would like to say that we have identified the resurfacing fund currently. Still have to investigate that, make sure that we're in compliance with the laws and regulations.
Okay.
So that may change. It won't stop the project, but we'll identify that.
Hmm.
If there's a different fund, I will send an email and
Okay.
identify that fund for you.
So this would be taken out of the levy fund, is the way it reads right now?
Currently.
Okay,
Street resurfacing.
yeah, but if it's something different, you'll let us
I'll
know.
certainly let you know.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Larry.
And that is nothing new, because when that street was resurfaced, this section was resurfaced previously, we used our street levy money.
Did you?
So, yeah.
Very good. All right, with that, I'll move to suspend the rules for 3 separate readings, 3 separate days.
Second.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Ordinance 31-25.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We have no resolutions this evening, no public hearing items, no old business, but we do have some new business, and that is an advertising permit for Omni Fiber. Matthew Lundgren. Is Matthew here? Hello, Matthew. Would you like to speak to us on this?
If there are questions that you have, or you'd like to hear more about what we're doing in the area, I'd be happy to do
Sure. Why don't you, if you would, step up to the podium and let us know what's happening. Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, so you've probably seen the construction crews coming through. We've got a few neighborhoods that are covered here in Ashland. And as sales rep, I live over in the Mifflin area. So it's a short drive for me, and I'm excited to be serving the area here. We're big on checking up, making sure that construction was completed according to all of our residents' expectations, and just trying to get faster, more reliable internet out there at a reasonable rate.
Great. And will you be leaving something at the door?
If the council approves that tonight, that would be the goal. We have some flyers and door hangers that we
Okay,
can
great,
leave that have
great.
my number on them.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you following the process of applying for a permit.
Of course.
I think once a week at least, someone is knocking on my door in Ashland here. And sometimes they have permits, sometimes they don't. And, but they all seem to leave something regardless. And so we appreciate you and the time it's taken to be here and do this. So,
I appreciate getting to understand how the community works.
sure.
Matthew, how big of an area do you cover?
We've got about 490 doors right now, 400, so businesses and homes that are covered by fiber right now in Ashland, so just a fraction of the town at this point.
And that's what part of the town?
I'm new to the area, so it's over by kind of Witz Custard.
Smith
East-
Road.
Okay.
East Lutheran Church,
Yeah,
yeah,
they've
Smith
been,
Road.
they've been up Smith Road.
Yeah,
So, I hope it's okay if I deviate just a bit. I've had people ask questions because there are other companies laying fiber. And their question is, why can't everybody use the same line like the gas and electric? Why does each company have to lay their own fiber lines? So we have one company laying fiber, another company laying fiber, and a third company coming soon to lay fiber, all in the same area, and they're all laying their own separate lines. Can you speak to that? Those are your lines. It's
Yeah,
not like
some
a
of them
common
are.
utility.
yeah. So we do lease lines between communities. I've actually had some great questions from residents here, which has helped get me educated as well. I know in town, one of our goals is to make sure that our network is reliable as possible. We want a way to differentiate ourselves from the competition. I know we run a different type of cable than Armstrong. We have different policies on how we run cable compared to Frontier, for example. From what I've seen, the limited amount that I've seen, I've only been knocking in Ashland for a couple of weeks now since I applied for the permit and was approved to not leave things but just talk with residents. I think that our product is more reliable from what I've seen, but that's just anecdotal. I know that that's our goal, though, as a company, to provide the most reliable service in town. I would hope that the other companies are trying to do the same, and I think competition is probably good for the residents here.
Very good. Anyone else?
No.
Okay.
Thanks.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Well, with that, is there a motion to approve this advertising permit for Omnifiber?
So moved.
Second.
All right.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Wood.
Aye.
All right. Very good. Thanks again, Matthew. Of course. Finance Director's report.
The app report, audit continues as we prepare for the review of our 2024 financials. We think that we have everything. Of course, as soon as I say that, why, they'll find something else I gotta do. But anyways, we're getting that wrapped up so that that can get onto the auditors so they can begin that process. I'd like to remind everybody, unfortunately, the tax day is coming, and it is mandatory if you own or live in the city of Ashland that you have to file income tax with us. Next week, they will have extended hours in an effort to try to meet the need of those folks who work a little later in the afternoon, to try to help them that way. We still have that online filing and paying process so that they can do that. And it's getting a little busier as we get closer. So I guess it's going good, but staff is getting a little tired for some reason. Anyways, the other item is that we continue to update our meter inventory. We have been developing a plan to work some of our neighborhoods into that so that we can get those new meters in service and so that our customers can have a little better service and have a little more convenience so that we don't have to knock on their door or walk around the house or anything. These meters do produce the information 24/7. They do not listen to your conversations, as I've been asked. No, they are listening at the water lines to see if you have a leak or if we have a leak in the middle of the street. That's all they record. They do not record conversations or anything else, so, but believe it or not, I've been asked that, so anyways. But that's my report, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
Larry, would you be so kind to explain, I mean, I understand, but I had a few phone calls about taxes. So when somebody works outside of the city limits, and they're now getting their taxes done, and they're told that they owe city tax to Ashland.
That's correct.
Yes, because, can you just explain why that is, why they probably owe? The question was, why aren't they taking enough of my taxes out?
Okay.
So,
It's a very good question. If, let's say, for example, I were to work in Mansfield, and Mansfield's tax rate, I believe, just went up, it was 2%. Our tax rate is also 2%. Now, their employer, where they work in Mansfield, will deduct the 2% and pay it to the city of Mansfield. In the city of Ashland, since you're a resident of Ashland, we do give you 1% credit for the taxes you pay elsewhere. But you are still required to pay a 1% tax rate to the city of Ashland. That provides the services that we all take for granted, such as our police department, our fire division, all of us, the administration and the operation of the city helps fund that. We do give credit, some communities do not, but we feel that that's an equitable way of still acquiring some income tax, but also giving some advantage to those folks who do work, unfortunately, outside our community.
And what can they do to avoid a large amount to owe at the end of the year?
They can pay quarterly payments to the city. They can, which is a credit to their account, and it is held on to that, so.
Mine is dead too. So we'll talk
So
very
I know
loudly.
folks are watching online right now, and for whatever reason, I see about 5 of these mics just shut off. So we apologize if you cannot hear what everyone's saying, but we won't ask you to repeat that, Larry. But make sure if you are speaking that yours is on, and if it's not on, because it's dead, we can pass the live one to you until we get the situation fixed. So, do you have anything more you'd like to share? If so, I'll pass this to you.
Repeat briefly. First of all, it is important that you file your income tax. We do not like taking people to court for failure to file. That costs all of us lots of money and time and effort to do that. And sending those wonderful letters that annoy everyone, it's important that if you get a letter, reach out to us. We're not going to take advantage of the situation. It's important that you communicate with us. If you get a letter or whatever, just call the tax office, send them an email. There's multiple ways you can communicate with the tax department. But it is mandatory that you file your taxes if you live in the city of Ashland. To do that, again, it doesn't pay us to take people to court. So, but that's kind of where we're at.
Well, thank you, Larry.
Anyone else? Okay. With that, we'll move right to council comments. And Mr. Caio, if you'd like to go first, you're welcome to.
Is yours on?
Reminder that spring cleanup starts this weekend. Well, you'd get stuff out this weekend, right, at the earliest, and starts actually in Ward 2, at least part of Ward 2. And so that's a reminder. One other thing, and it came to my attention that there's some confusion in the community, and I want to clarify. There were some comments made about myself and my employer, and I just want to mention publicly, I no longer work for Simonson Construction Services, and I haven't for nearly 2 years. So I work for a mechanical contractor in Medina. So I just thought I would clear the air with that. So other than that, I'm glad it's spring.
Yes.
Very good.
And on the spring cleanup, just make sure if you have mattresses or couches or chairs, anything with cushions, that you have them wrapped in plastic. If you don't, it's going to be sitting on your curb until you comply. So just a reminder.
Everybody should have received one of these letters from Archer Energy as part of the city's natural gas aggregation program with the city. So there is nothing that anybody has to do, unless you want to opt out, which I wouldn't suggest, but you can if you'd like, and that opt-out's on the bottom. It's guaranteed to save you 2% on your natural gas. So, and I remember last year that if you've moved, you might not automatically be enrolled, so you may have to call. So just wanted everybody to know that.
I will steal some of Councilman Miller's thunder and talk about speeding. As it stays light longer, the kids are outside playing later, and I have seen some very, very reckless drivers. And so I just want to remind people once again, please be careful. That extra 30 seconds that you might save by doing 20 over the speed limit is not going to be worth it if it costs somebody's life.
I couldn't have said it better.
Mayor, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, I don't have a long report. I do want to announce that our ladder truck has arrived. And so very soon, we'll put together a moment for all of you to come out and take a look at that. We also want to get some photos of it being shiny and detailed and brand new. Interesting enough, our particular ladder truck was actually recently showcased at a trade show in Columbus where they showed it off to everyone. So we certainly have a great piece of equipment coming our way, but we'll have more details about that soon. Also, I wanted to point out that our US 250 committee has been meeting, and we're working on the details for America's 250th birthday celebration in the city of Ashland. That, of course, takes place July 4th, 2026, but we're already having the discussion and raising the funds necessary to have one heck of a parade, a fabulous monument dedication, and a wonderful birthday party. So culminating in probably the biggest fireworks show we've ever seen in our history. So all of that's coming. And I would also mention to you that we are getting ready for Ashland Sparkle. That, of course, is an event led by our local Rotary Club, but I know that they are always looking for volunteers to help with the many projects that they do, and not the least of which is helping clean up litter on important thoroughfares throughout our city. And so anyone that's willing to do that as a community project, we would certainly appreciate it, because it's always good to get that litter gathered before the grass and the tree lawns and tree lines start filling up with greenery. So we would love to have you volunteer and help us out with that. And it seems to me there was one other item, but I can't think of what it was right now. Other than I know what it was. The old maintenance garage that the city schools owned on 3rd Street is gone, if you haven't noticed. In fact, it's incredible. Simonson did a marvelous job of removing that building, and to be quite honest with you, it's hard to imagine that it was ever there. So we appreciate them acting so quickly to get that building down. That, of course, will turn to additional parking right there behind Foundation Plaza. So that'll be a good addition for all of our many events. When it comes to the Pump House District, we are still expecting the contractors to start getting the work underway in the month of April. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that that all carries through. We, at last meeting, discussed the fact that we thought that the rail spur that's located on the backside of the Pump House District that work would begin March 17th. Here we are in April. It still has not begun. We continue to have communications with Ashland Rail Company about that project, and we also talked to the grant entity at the state today, basically finding out if there's any way that we can help expedite that if the rail line doesn't come through on schedule. And so we'll keep working on that. But I'm hoping that we start to see that project come out of the ground here very soon. We've waited a long time. So I think that's all.
I see things are progressing across the street from Dairy Queen.
Oh, yes.
As well.
Oh, yes.
So that's
A lot of people
really good.
asking what's going in there, but unfortunately, it's not a new restaurant. It's just a new culvert. But it is quite a culvert, isn't it? Yes, I think they started pouring some of the retaining walls today or yesterday.
It will be an improvement.
Oh, absolutely. And anyone that's wondering, that particular area, once all the culvert is complete, will turn into green space. So it'll be manicured green lawn with trees. So it'll still be a beautiful entrance into the historic downtown.
Good. All right, thank you, Mayor. Well, questions and comments from our audience? If anyone has anything they'd like to address council with, now would be the time. Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a
Second.
second? Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Lawson.
Aye.
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 Thank you all for coming. We are adjourned.